Hi, my name is Sam Biddle, and I thought I'd bring to you this great little video showing you how gel paint can create an awesome one-stroke look. Now, there's two things to remember with one stroke. One, don't overcomplicate it, and two, practice. So let's get started. Now I'm going to do a nail that's going to match this one. First, you want to do 2 coats of gel polish, and then what I want you to do after you've cured that is take off the sticky inhibition layer. This will leave a perfect surface for you to work with. We're going to use the white gel paint and the red gel paint. So just put some of the white gel paint onto your thumb palette and a little bit of the red as well. Then what you're going to do is take your one stroke brush. I'm actually using a one stroke brush with a slight angle cut into the edge of it. You dip each side of the one stroke brush and you coat it with the gel paint. Now you can see that I'm really getting that gel paint into the bristles. I make sure that it's on both sides before I then go on to the actual surface of the nail. Now, if you're new to one stroke, I'd perhaps just look up some other lessons and workshops just to get started, but just give this a go anyway. It just requires you to apply colour in one stroke. There's nothing more to it. Don't overcomplicate it and don't try too hard. Really, what we're after is that clever effect that just applying the polish, the gel paint or regular paint onto the surface of the nail will give you. And that's all we really want, because once you've put the fine lines around the outside and added additional detail, what you really are focusing on is that fade and blend of colour. So please don't overcomplicate it and don't stress too much about one stroke, because that's where people fail and they just get very disheartened with it. So you can see here I'm actually doing my 4th petal, and then I'll go on and apply the 5th petal now. So once that's done, we're going to pop this underneath the LED light. The gel paint does work with LED or UV. Just put it under the LED light for 30 seconds, and then you're going to apply a 2nd coat. Now, I tend to just apply a 2nd coat on the odd petal because I want to create a sort of layered look. I also want to make it seem like the petals are semi-transparent so you can see colour over colour. Right now I'm adding buds, and I'm literally just doing this with a small sweep of my brush, and I've got that two-tone effect with the white at the tip. So we're going to go on to the leaves, and we're going to make this a very simple application. Apply a little bit of yellow gel paint, and then I'm just going to add a tiny bit of green because I want a really light, pretty effect on the nail, and I don't want it to be too dark and heavy. So just apply a small amount of green to the yellow to give us that really juicy, grassy green. Then add some white, like you did before with the red, onto your thumb palette, and then load your brush. Always make sure that the white is on the highest part of your angled brush, and that way the white will always be at the very tip or the edge of the leaf. So you can see here I'm loading the brush backwards and forwards, and then I'm now just going to sweep, very much like I did the petal, upwards and create a leaf. Now you can see how subtle this is. I'm using the brush here just to create a two-tone effect. I'm actually not creating leaf shapes. I'm just filling in the base of the nail, just because that is where I'm going to add some additional detail. And really we're just creating an illusion that there is leaves there, but we're not focusing on that. The leaves really are sort of sitting with the buds. Once you've got the green down, make sure that you cure it for 30 seconds, and then we're gonna do the detail. Now the detail is all in the brush, and this is my orange brush which I spent time creating for you, and it's going to help you make those gorgeous thin lines that you need to make this design come alive. So we're using now the hot pink, and then we're going to add a little bit of black. I know it's a bit extreme, but really this is going to give us a great contrasting colour that's not too austere, just to highlight those petals. Now don't create thin lines. What you want to do is add slight curves and make the lines just come into the petal a little bit, and that will make it seem like the petal has folds. Keep going all the way around each of the petals, and then you want to add the stems of the flowers, or your buds here, and create the stems that come all the way down and sort of grow from the larger flower. So you can see that we're actually using not green, but that dark purple colour that we created. Finally, what we want to do is create some shadow in the centre of our flower, and this is what's going to give our flower 3D effects. So this is what's going to make the flower seem like it's more tubular, so it's sort of coming out at you and not flat and just working with colour. So once you've created the thin lines here, and please try to make them as thin as possible, add a little bit of black in the centre and then repeat that process over the top of those lines, but just don't do too much of this particular colour, because obviously it is very, very heavy. So we're now ready to go and do a darker colour of the green. So we're going to add green, and then we're going to add a little bit of black to that green, and this is where our leaves really come to life as well. So you can see right now I'm just taking the tip of my brush and running it alongside the lighter green that I placed down. Then I'm adding a centre vein to the leaf, and then I'm coming around the outside as well. So carry on using this dark green, create swirls. Can you see how I'm actually positioning the tip of my brush onto the nail? It's only the tip that I'm using, and the angle of my brush is at a 90-degree angle. If you have your brush down at a 45-degree angle or lying flat, you're actually going to use a wider portion of the brush. So really what we want to do is just use the very, very tip of the brush and make sure that brush is loaded with all the paint so that it flows through. Now there's lots of uses for the nail art pen, and not just to create fine lines and outlines. Right now I am using it as a dotting tool. It is the best dotting tool ever, because it's going to give you an even sized dot. You're not going to get the large dot and then it goes to finer dots if you're using a regular dotting tool. I'm going in with the lighter green here towards the top of the nail, just because I don't want it to be as heavy as the other greens. So now it's done, and the final part is to add top coat. And just you see, when you add your top coat to your nail, it will come alive and it will look as stunning as this one does. I actually have really enjoyed doing this nail, and one stroke for me isn't the favourite technique that I like to use, but I do enjoy it. And I hope you enjoy this collection of nails as well. And perhaps we'll see you very, very soon.